Good morning. James Hobart with James Hobart Marketing. I am running my first video supporting my first article on my blog called Your Mind's Operating System. I'd like to point out that this information comes out of the therapy industry. My background is 45 years in the professional beauty business, actually managing companies, their marketing, sales, and education departments, working with distribution, which are the salespeople that support the line's products, and learned a lot from them over the years. You might ask, why am I doing this? I'm actually doing this video because I had found myself many years later, 45 years later to be exact, in a vulnerable position. I did not plan well for my retirement, and here it is coming up fast, and I've got to find a way to, again, find income. I watch a lot of people online make money, some huge money, and I always figure if they can do it, I can do it. Much the same thing for you. But either way, like I say, the reason I'm doing this is I actually want to share the information that I learned probably 23 years ago. I am a certified hypnotherapist in the state of California, have been since 1993. I've got a book on the market called Happiness is Your Birthright, which basically covers everything we're going to talk about over the next two articles, the next two videos. Critical to understand, and again, I can literally say that this information changed my life drastically many years ago. It has not been easy. The information, of course, is easy to read, sometimes easy to understand, but to put it into practice, of course, is a whole different step. So overall, like I say, I wanted this class to kind of give you a feel for where I'm headed with the second video in particular, which really will dig deep into both the conscious and subconscious mind, which are basically your mind's setup. I always like to compare, this setup to, again, a computer system. But before I get into that, I really want to talk more about, your model of the world, because I think understanding this sets up everything else for me. Your model of the world really came about from where you were born, what parents you had, who your family members were, what schools you attended, what churches you attended, who your friends were, and, of course, your life experience. We're all on the road of life. I always jest about it somewhat, but I really sincerely feel we are on the highway of life, I guess I should say. We all had an entry point onto that highway called birth. We'll all have an exit at some point called death. In between there, that lifespan, that life, again, journey can be a short one, 1 year, a 10-year, 100-year. Of course, none of us know how long we'll be around, although we all have basically an expiration number stamped on somewhere. But either way, for the moment, like I say, I want to drill information that can help you change who you are within yourself more so than outside yourself. I found through experience, and I know for a fact, that what you create in your mind creates the outside world. So a lot of things that, again, are achievable for someone can be achievable for somebody else if the proper steps are taken. So again, the model of the world really defines who you are. It defines you as a unique individual. I was born in Bogota, Colombia. I lived in Bogota until I was 6. We then moved to Panama, where I lived until I was almost 11 or 12 before we came to the States. Parents, I don't know my father. I had a stepfather. Again, family, short because of that situation. So all these things, like I say, that are mine can never be yours. You have an individual model of the world that is uniquely you. We did not have the same parents. We were not born in the same place. We did not have the same family, and on and on and on. This applies to, in fact, I'm married to an identical twin. I've known these girls now for 30 years. 30 years ago, they might have been on the same track, but 30 years later, they've gone in different directions. And that's called, again, the road of life experience. Which sets up your life script. Your life script really is a running account of your movie. You are the star in your own movie, and we all have one. What we do with the information, of course, to change tomorrow can be impactful. What you do today always sets up tomorrow, and I always make a point, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself if you took care of today. So the information, like I said, I'm going to share with you really compares, and they're very similar. The computer system that we've all gotten used to, we know that the computer is a box. In it, you've got the motherboard, the sound card, all the things that, again, are there to make it work. You've got the screen, the monitor where you actually see images. You've got the keyboard where you input information or look for information. That's how simple it is. Of course, you can attach printers and a whole host of other things. But in comparison to your mind basically is made up of two strong factors. One, your conscious mind, which is what we're on now, and the subconscious mind, which I'm going to dig into tomorrow, or in the next video, I should say, a lot deeper, because it is really who you are. It is like what I call the automatic you, and I'll develop how that works as we move along. So again, if you compare the two, what the mind is really is the software that goes into the computer to, again, run the many applications that you run through the day and run through your life. With the computer, without an office suite, without software to, again, run the programs that you want that computer to give you information on, it's basically just a dead, inanimate object. The mind, like I say, very similar to that, but it is the software, it is the applications that drive your life. Some files are, one page deep, some files are very deep. I always liken the subconscious mind to a file room of information, one that you've been gathering information in for however long you've been on Earth. In my case, I've been gathering information now for over 70 years. Scary to think that time crept up that fast, but again, you've got to deal with life as it comes, one day at a time. It is a very synergistic system that we work within ourselves, with the mind in particular driving the software for the computer system, which basically is the brain. That is the computer. That is two lobes, a right and a left. The left controls the right side of the body and is the analytical side. The right lobe controls the left side of the body, and it is really the creative side. We'll talk more about that again in the next video. But these two, like I said, really are connected by if you look at a brain, there's a center channel running between the two hemispheres that is called the corpus callosum. The corpus callosum exchanges information back and forth so that, again, there's activity on both sides of the body, keeping everything in balance. I find, interestingly enough, today in society, women by nature use both lobes almost identically the same, whereas the male really is more left brain dominant, brought on by society, again, feeding us that we are the breadwinner. We're the ones that have to go out and find a job, maintain a job, and again, sustain the household. So overall, like I said, we've got a synergistic system that works in balance harmoniously with all the parts connected. All the parts individually don't have that same capacity for fulfillment. We know from science that the brain never loses anything. In fact, in hypnotherapy, whether you believe it or not, you can regress back in age and actually pick up events that happened to you that you actually forgotten. They're not forgotten in the brain scan because the brain is literally billions of cells that, again, connect, hold memory, think ahead for you, all the things that we do as a human being where the brain activity is critical. The mind overrides all that because the mind is, again, the bigger concept, and that's what we're going to try and develop. So overall, like I say, the brain, too, has 4 frequencies, electrical frequencies that it works on, and let me develop those real quick because they are important also. We are on right now conscious level thinking. We're awake, we're logical, we're rational, all the things that the conscious mind's about. Understand that the conscious mind's about 12% of your capacity. On the other hand, the subconscious mind, which I haven't really developed yet well enough for you to understand, although you may have background in this area also, and we'll develop that thoroughly in the next video. Really, again, the subconscious is about 88% of your capacity. So if there is conflict between the conscious mind at 12% and the subconscious mind at 88%, the subconscious mind will always dominate. And like I say, through the day, you may question yourself, why did I say that? Why did I do that? That's an automatic behavior that we talk about. So again, in going through, beta is what we're on right now. Beta is the fastest frequency, and again, active because we are awake and conscious. On the other side, when we're prone at night asleep, the brain drops into a very low-level frequency called delta. So between beta and delta, the upper and lower extremes of that, again, pulse rate, you've got 2 others. You've got theta and you've got alpha. Theta is probably the deepest form of, brain inactivity. It drops you down to a level where, again, a therapist can actually induce or give you suggestions because your suggestibility is very open at that moment. Alpha is a lighter form of, again, brain frequency. I use it a lot in what I call mind fitness. I've been doing mind fitness now for probably 20, 25 years. I thoroughly believe in it. I know that it made a huge difference in me as a person and where I've come down the road of life. And I think once you understand it, it'll benefit you also. I actually put a whole emphasis on personal development. I've actually been in personal development within myself since I was born, and really have always sought to help other people also. One of the things that I know that you've got to have if you're going to change who you are is you got to look at it from 3 standpoints. You've got to, one, acknowledge and be aware of what it is you want to change, because unless that happens, you just keep running forward, same old track, same old road, same old happenings, again, same old actions. The second thing is you got to label a specific action to take once you know what the bigger picture is and where you want to go. And the third thing is you've got to follow through with a program for change. One of those programs might be my Mind Fitness program, which I develop heavily and teach you very easily in my book, Happiness is Your Birthright. I do believe that what I'm sharing with you today and in the next video is as powerful or probably as powerful as anything you could ever learn. Like I say, once I latched onto the information at a presentation back in probably 91, 92, I said, this is great. I'm in sales. I manage salespeople. I manage sales departments. It really has an application in sales and marketing for that matter. And that's the reason I got into it. One of the things that I'm going to talk about briefly for a second, and I'll develop that also a little deeper in the next video, is a scientific term called homeostasis. Homeostasis really is about the individual, the human being, wanting change and coming out of their comfort zone. See, we all have a comfort zone around us. We're all creatures of habit. I joke about it, but, you know, before you wake up in the morning or when you wake up in the morning, there's a series of things you go through. I know mine are. I have a cup of coffee. I watch the news. I come down and shower. Before I shower, I do my mouth. I'm very clean on, or big on mouth hygiene. So I, again, floss. I brush. I then use my sonic toothbrush, and I always follow up with a rinse. That's way before I get into the shower. So, again, we all are creatures of habit. And if you think about it, back when I was just putting my gook on this morning, you know, the first thing I do, of course, coming out of the shower and drying off is you do deodorant. Then I do skincare, which I think is critical, especially with aging skin. And then, of course, I put on hair gel. I don't have a lot of hair left, but enough to where I can, again, you know, comb it back. So those are, again, habits also. At night, we're creatures of habit in a big way. We always make sure the door is locked, the lights are out, the dog and cat, you know, water and food for them on the floor or wherever the location is. We, again, double-check windows. We, again, go through a little ritual before we go upstairs or go to the bedroom and actually lay down and go to bed. So we are creatures of habit. One final habit I'll point out, too, is driving. I don't know about you. I learned driving with a stick. I started driving many, many years ago. And at that time, automatics were considered, you know, the high end. A lot of people couldn't afford them. So most cars came with, you know, stick shifts or on the column for that matter. If you didn't learn to drive a stick shift, it is, again, it can be an experience that either makes you or breaks you, you know, between pushing the clutch in and making sure it's in the right gear and then letting the clutch out as you put gas in very slowly. So, again, it's a smooth takeoff. And then, of course, putting the clutch back in and moving to another gear and going back through that process. It can be overwhelming at first. But, you know, like I say today, I whip down the highway as you do. Again, listening to the radio, you know, watching or listening for Bluetooth messages coming in on your phone. Many times you've got, you know, a cup of water in your hand or a drink in your hand, a cup of coffee. So these habits, like I say, are ingrained. How many of you have been driving down that highway, or the highway is probably the best example where you got long tracts of road, and all of a sudden kind of woke up and thought, oh my gosh, how did I get here? For that 10-second, 20-second, 30-second interval, you literally were in subconscious mode. Your subconscious mind's been driving since you started driving. It knows exactly what to do automatically, unconsciously. So again, a lot of these things are conscious. A lot of these things are subconscious. You don't think about breathing. It's a natural part of the self-autonomic nervous system. So again, a lot of bodily functions are automatic because we can't stop to think every time we want to take a breath and then, of course, release it. So habits, like I say, are that We all landed here naked to the world at birth. I don't think anybody landed here with their shoes on. I'll quickly point out that, we all land here, like I say, naked to the world. The only two fears that you land with, you or I or anybody else, and if you know them, great, and if you don't, babies have the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. That is the only two fears a human being has when they land here to the world. Today at 13, 15, 18, people are not afraid of bugs, they're afraid of heights, they're afraid of water, they're afraid of flying. The number one fear of Americans, surprisingly, is still fear of public speaking, which I never have understood because I've been publicly speaking since probably high school, but it doesn't matter. The point is that is the number one fear of Americans. So overall, like I say, even though we're creatures of habit, life is about learning through association and identification. That is what creates your life script. Like I say, your life script's been running from the moment you were born. I actually go back 9 months earlier because in your mother's womb, believe me, you hear things, you feel things, you taste things. You are closer to, again, data and information than we would think. So I believe that, again, what you do with the child in the womb creates a huge impact when that child finally lands. And then from that point on, of course, it's either praise or, getting beat up, one of the two, that again forms and molds who you are. Your subconscious holds everything that you bring in, whether it's coming from the environment, the senses, the conscious mind, a lot of information constantly coming in. So we develop the subconscious mind over time. In fact, when I get into the second video, which really digs into it a lot deeper, you'll see that there is a huge difference in the two, the conscious and the subconscious. As humans evolved over time, and I'll take us back to caveman days, when again it was pretty basic. If you had a stick, hopefully you put a point on it, you were probably searching for small game. Let's say you were chasing rabbits, but all of a sudden you see a saber-toothed tiger heading your way. What are you going to do? The mind still has this part of it within it, a very small part called the primitive mind. The primitive mind at that point in the caveman's day, when he sees that saber-toothed tiger coming his way, is to do one of two things: stand there and fight or go into flight. Flight can be running away. Flight can be laying down on the ground and playing dead. We'll talk more about those two, but again, they are still part of the primitive mind that resides deep, deep in the back of your neck, the brainstem there, again, coming back to prehistoric times. Life-threatening situations, like I say, brought on fight or flight, and that is a reactionary position that we took back then, but we still take it periodically. As I said, we've been developing the subconscious mind since birth. The conscious mind really didn't come in until we reached the age of reason. By books, they say that's still 6 to 8. I actually think kids today are maturing a lot faster, and probably 6 to 8 might be 1 year longer than we in reality have. But either way, like I say, once the conscious mind develops, reasoning takes over, logic takes over, and that's where tomorrow's video will really, like I say, open up your eyes to how the two work together, how they developed, and how they, again, manage your day and your life as we move forward. Let me leave you with a few closing thoughts. Remember that the conscious mind has the ability to reason, but it cannot implement that decision until the subconscious mind agrees. Remember that what I said earlier, the conscious mind is about 12% of your capacity, the subconscious mind 88% of your capacity. It will always override the conscious mind if there's a decision that it doesn't agree with. And remember, it's got the file system to support its decision making. The last thing I want to do is to, again, have you, if you can, bookmark my blog site, jameshobartmarketing.com. If you've gone to my site, if you haven't, all my articles in my blog are geared towards self-improvement, self-empowerment, motivation, inspiration, the things that many times we didn't get through the school system, we didn't get through the family, we didn't get to the religious association. Everybody tries, but again, this information is very focused and very practical once you accept it and once you understand it. And as I said, and I'll say it again, it literally transformed my life. I've been doing mind fitness now probably for a good 20, 25 years. I am a different person today than I was even 10 years ago, much less 20, much less 30. So overall, like I say right now, I so appreciate your time. I look forward to talking to you again on the next video. Prep for it. This video will go up on my blog site supporting Article 1, your mind's operating system. Tomorrow we'll get into your mind's operating system part 2. Have a great day. Enjoy the week, and we'll go from there. Thank you.